The 2-8 Houston Texans against the 2-8 New York Jets, a game that's going to be played at Houston. This is really one of the only games I could truly say the Houston Texans will win. Zach Wilson, he's coming off a sprained PCL. He hasn't played in 4 weeks. The New York Jets defense is not that good. Their offensive line is not that good. You could pretty much say the New York Jets and the Houston Texans are pretty much in the same situations. I mean, they're 2-8 football teams. They are what they are, both with first time head coaches. The only difference is that, the Jets wanted Robert Saleh. The Jets were one of the first to be in the head coaching market and they snatched him. The Houston Texans, for whatever reason, waited all the way until everyone was gone, until there was nobody left to hire but David Culley. They do have the franchise quarterback, something that the Houston Texans don't. However, if you want to say Davis Mills is a franchise quarterback, that's a conversation that you can have in itself. But overall, these both teams, they're 2-8. When you look at the key matchups for next week, it's going to be Zach Wilson and that horrible Jets offensive line. Some pretty good receivers. They have Corey Davis, James and Crowder, former Texans tight end Ryan Griffin, who I was kind of salty that they let go at the time after having a couple good 400-yard seasons with us. Against this defense, right? I do think it's going to be able to feast, right? Are we going to see a lot more of Jacob Martin? He did play, I think, very good last week. Had that key clutch fourth quarter late in the game sack, that kind of put them out of it. The Tennessee Titans. I want to see more of Ross Blacklock. He had another good game last week. Can we continue to see the progress? Can this second half of the season belong to Ross Blacklock? As far as these linebackers, Crew J Hill, like I said, can he build off of what he did last week? He caused the interception. He had an interception himself, had a couple tackles for loss, a forced fumble. This defense, I think, is finally coming around for the Houston Texans. We finally are seeing the idea of Lovie Smith, a team that's going to be able, to get takeaways. Justin Reed said it himself that Zach Wilson is an athlete, but we think we're going to have some spots where we can get some takeaways. The Houston Texans have had a damn near 2 takeaways every single game, and it's going to be interesting to see how it happens. I do think this defense is going to feast on these guys, right? The running game, Tevin Coleman and Mr. Johnson back there, nothing special, as well as the Houston Texans. I do think the Houston Texans have the matchup on the defensive side, and well, if you really want to look at on the offensive side, you could say that as well. I do think the offensive line is a little bit much better. Tyrod Taylor wasn't sacked last week. David Culley had a funny explanation why, saying, well, he didn't get sacked because we threw the ball out faster and we ran the ball more. That's just the head coach, right? That's just what David Culley says. But I think the offense, really benefited for what the defense did. Multiple turnovers, didn't really have to go far when they needed to go far. The Houston Texans had a long drive and scored, with Tyrod Taylor running it in. I have no doubts this offense is going to put up points. I think it's, like I said, I think it's going to be a very convincing win for the Houston Texans today. However, if they lose, I am not mad. And this is where we could go into talking about the draft and talking about where we stand, because currently, with the win last week, you took yourself out of the potential, Thibodeau sweepstakes. You beat the Tennessee Titans, one of the best teams in the AFC, one of the best teams in the division. Right now, you have the number 4th overall pick, and then you have and then you have, the struggling New York Jets here. Do you want to win another game and go 3-8, and you move yourself farther away from the number 1 overall pick? Because this is the Houston Texans rebuild, guys. Look at this. I know you guys want to see wins right now, but these wins are not going to matter. We're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to go on a 9-game winning streak. That's not who this team is. This team should start focusing on the draft, focusing on the development of Davis Mills. How good would this game have been, much more advertised if it was the first round QB against the third round QB? Who is going to have the better day? But with Tyrod Taylor being back there and Tyrod Taylor coming back home, playing at home, getting at Houston Texans, NRG, It's gonna be much more louder because they're coming off that win. A lot of fans, like I said, a lot of fans want to see this Houston Texans team go on a roll. I want to stay close to number one guys, because I do think the top five picks could potentially be, generational talents for you. You have Kevon Thibodeau, obviously. You have the offensive tackle from Alabama, Neal. Um, Derek Stingley, the cornerback from LSU, Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive lineman from Michigan, who's becoming one of my favorites, and then you have, Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame, Miss Sarah McCoy, one of, the commenters, a shout out to that account. She thinks that Kyle Hamilton is not a good safety, so a lot of potential stuff can happen if the Houston Texans win. Do you really want to win and put yourself in a lesser position to get to get a generational talent just to satisfy yourself right now, or do you want to just say fuck it? You play football to win the game, and you just see what goes on from there. Let me know what you guys think. As always, go Texans. You guys have a blessed day.